You're listening to Simple Roots Radio, episode number 137, and this is a short bonus episode telling you the 5 places you should never eat.
Welcome to Simple Roots Radio with Alexa Sherm. Alexa believes that simplicity in life is the key to achieving true and lasting health. And now your host, Alexa Sherm.
Welcome back to the show. My name's Alexa. As always, this is the place to get healthy, live happy, and find more joy. Today, I'm going to break down the 5 places you should never eat. And you're probably thinking restaurants like McDonald's. But the truth is, that's not what I'm talking about at all. In fact, these are the 5 everyday places that you go to or you do every single day, and they're the worst places that you could actually eat food. And it has to do with what we learned about in episode number 136 about the autonomic nervous system. So before we get started, make sure that you go back and listen to that episode, as well as all the other episodes in the metabolism series, which started at episode number 130. But specifically, you got to listen to episode number 136 to better understand what I'm talking about here. So just to give you a brief overview, our body's autonomic nervous system contains 3 parts, just 2 that we're going to talk about. The parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest phase, and the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight phase. So what that means is that our body prefers to eat and digest food in a rested state, right? Like our body's in either or in this case, right? They're opposing each other. So we're either in the sympathetic or the stress response, or we're in the rest and digest phase. But the problem is that so often we're just accustomed to living in this sympathetic mode, this highly stressed state. We're on the go all the time. Our lives are stressful. We can't slow down, all the things. Like I totally get this as being a mom and owning my own business and having a husband who works full time, right? Like it's hard to slow down to eat. But here's the deal. Our body cannot digest food well. It will if it has to, but it can't digest food well in the sympathetic nervous system. And that is the place so many people are eating. It can only digest food in the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, what I mean by that is that digestion looks completely different in both phases. So, for instance, when you eat in the digestive phase, the parasympathetic phase, when your body's in the rest and digest mode, it's prepared to digest food, right? It releases all the enzymes you need, the right amount of stomach acid, it empties food at the right amount of times, it absorbs food differently, and it deals with all the nutrients and energy that's coming in an appropriate way. This is our efficient system. I like to think of it in this phase, your body takes in what it needs and it gets rid of the rest. I like to think about kids, right? They can eat a lot of food, but it doesn't mean that your body's using all of the food. The same thing goes with us. Like we should be able to eat enough of the right foods and your body's just going to take in what it needs and it's going to dump the rest. Now, on the other hand, if we're eating in the sympathetic nervous system or our fight or flight response, then what's going to happen is your body's not going to release the right amount of stomach acid. In fact, it doesn't even like to release saliva, which is the starting point of all digestion. So what that looks like is that your body's going to have slow, sluggish metabolism. It's not going to empty at the right amount of times. It's not going to absorb things well. If it does absorb it, it's probably just going to go right into storage rather than being used like it should. Like it's just not an efficient way. And we can become really nutrient deprived if we eat all the food in the sympathetic phase. Not to mention, it is a huge linkage to heartburn, to bloating, excess gas, problems with our digestive juices, problems with stomach emptying. It can be a linkage in food allergies and food sensitivity, leaky gut, like all these bad things that we hear about. Like, could it be because we're eating in the wrong phase that our body's not equipped to handle it? Remember what happens in the sympathetic nervous system is this fight or flight response. All of the energy gets diverted from your organs and your digestive system to your extremities, to your muscles to respond in the presence of stress. Now, on the other hand, in the parasympathetic mode, it comes away from your skeletal muscle towards your digestive system and your organs to be able to handle all this, to heal and restore and create new hormones and repair your body and to filter nutrients to where they need to go, right? Like there's a whole process that happens, but it can only happen in the parasympathetic nervous system. So I'm going to make an argument that If you eat your food in the wrong places, you are more predisposed to developing excess body weight, plus have less energy, more hormonal imbalances, feel bad, digestive disorders, and leaky gut. I mean, so much more. Now, this is like common everyday places that we like to eat our food. And so my challenge for you is to stop eating in these places that I'm going to tell you and start to focus on eating only in the parasympathetic mode. So what are the 5 places? And then I'm going to tell you how you can get yourself in the parasympathetic mode to actually enjoy a meal and metabolize, absorb, digest, do all the things like your body should. I'm telling you, these are game changers, right? So don't take this lightly. So 5 places you should never eat food. 1 is standing. Now, I say this lightly because in some cases, yes, you can be in the parasympathetic mode when you're standing. But for most of us, our body really, in order to digest food, it does better in the seated position. Standing actually changes your blood pressure and your heart rate more than we give it credit for, but having good posture in a seated position actually helps push you more into parasympathetic mode. So sitting to eat your food is always going to be better than standing. I did an entire short bonus podcast about why you should sit down to eat your food, like stop standing, and I did it in honor of a friend who never sits down to eat their food. I mean, I hope that they really do now after I recorded that episode for them. But don't eat your food standing. That means you can't shovel food in your mouth over the kitchen sink. You can't eat it on the go or while you're folding clothes or getting your kids ready for school. I say all this as these are the things that I really struggle with myself. So don't eat food standing. Don't eat food in your car. As soon as we get in our car, especially to drive, we automatically are in sympathetic mode. Our body's on a heightened alert, right? We can't relax in the car simply because it's a survival mechanism. Like what happens if we relax? We're more likely to get into an accident or not be as aware, right? Like we have to be aware at all times of what's happening in a car. And so we're automatically in sympathetic nervous system. So if you're eating your breakfast on your way to work or you're eating a snack on your way home, no, you will not digest that food well. It could in fact create more issues all day long. So don't eat in your car. Number 3 is don't eat at your desk. Again, when we're working, when we're in a heightened state, especially when we're working, it could be leading to excess stress. Most people's jobs are stressful on some level. And so working while you're trying to eat or eating while you're trying to work rather is actually a stressful response. You're in sympathetic mode. So don't work and eat at the same time. Also, don't eat in front of the TV. I know most of us think that this is a relaxed state, but sitting in front of the TV isn't necessarily a stressful response, but it is a different state rather than the rest and digest phase. Like watching TV puts us into a whole new state that's just being studied, but we know that it leads to distraction and it's not a proper way for us to really listen to our body, to take in what we're eating and enjoy it. That's why you can sit down in front of the TV and eat a whole bag of chips and not even know it, right? Or you're more likely to eat 5 pieces of pizza rather than 2 or 3 because you're just not as aware of your body as you are. It's a different mental state, and it's not one that's good for digestion. And the last thing is don't eat distracted. So what I mean is don't eat and read the paper. Don't eat and work on your planner. Don't eat and look at social media. Again, the distracted phase tends to be more of our sympathetic mode, where we're diverting our attention from our rest and digest and our healing phase. Like this isn't always the case. But when we're eating, it's really, really important to focus on what it is that we're eating. Now, what's interesting in the history of food is that food has always been a communal thing. It was a time where people sat down and gathered together to enjoy a meal, right? People talked about it. People rarely ate meals alone, and when they did, they were just more aware of the meal, right? They sat down, they took a break from work, and they actually enjoyed it. It was considered a quote-unquote break, which makes sense with the phase that you're in of rest and digest. It's a period of time where your body can rest, to regroup, to heal, to get the energy, and then to go forth throughout the rest of the day. So those are 5 places you should never eat. I encourage you, I challenge you that we probably all do at least one of those in any given day. Maybe all of your meals are in one of those places, right? But here's the thing. Try and change that. Even if you just do it for breakfast, right? You sit down and you actually enjoy breakfast before you leave for work. Try it and see how much difference it makes. I promise it will change digestion. And remember in the last podcast, you cannot fix your metabolism without training your body to live more in the parasympathetic mode rather than the sympathetic mode. And I gave you a bunch of ways to do that over there. But like I said, one big thing is when you're eating, remember who you're eating with. Remember, it's about the experience, about sitting down and enjoying it. And the enjoyment and the laughter and the camaraderie and the communal effect of that changes so much how your body uses the energy that you're providing it and the nutrients you're providing it. So make an effort to sit down and eat your meals and make an effort to take breaks in order to enjoy that. Really, you don't need 30 minutes. You can eat a meal in 15 or 20 minutes, even not rushed, but take time to sit down and enjoy it and make an effort to make meals more about the experience because that changes how your body digests that. Okay, that was my quick bonus episode. I hope your minds are blown. Those are the 5 places you should never eat food. It will change your game. So just start focusing on that and make a bigger effort to just sit down at the kitchen table and enjoy the food that you are eating. Okay, that's it for now. Make sure you go back and listen to all the other episodes in the series. Also, head on over to the show notes at simplerootswellness.com/137 to get more information about this, how to make food more communal, and don't forget to sign up for my email list there as we're going to be digging into a little series that I'm going to go through on my email list specifically about how to take better care of your body, how to get yourself more into parasympathetic mode, and really to create a healthier life through lifestyle choices, through the environment. Okay, so head on over there, do that, sign up for your email list, and don't forget to come back next week as I have a very special interview for you that I cannot wait to share. Again, all relates to the metabolism. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you again next week.